Hey guys, it's Elliot at MMT here with Ninja. Now we're going to look at the test of the shoulder, so things I would assess when I'm treating a client with a shoulder problem. Shoulders are quite a dynamic joint. It has a lot of degrees of range of motion. It's inherently unstable because of that ball and socket motion there. So we want to kind of break it down in a way that we can clearly assess. So when we do our treatment and when we do our reassessment, we can see clearly if things have changed. So common one that we test first is shoulder flexion. There's a few ways you can do it. If a client's got a pretty painful and dysfunctional shoulder, I might ask them to do a simple version, which is bringing the hand up like this. So bring it like that, and then just reaching up towards the sky there. Okay, so we have that, it's what's called a short lever for flexion. Okay, and we just want to see how much they can go up. So let's try that again, Ninj, going up. Cool, and then coming back. Okay, so that's short lever flexion. A bad one will look like as they're coming up, they just go, oh, I can't lift that up, or it's starting to get uncomfortable. Okay. A long lever is not with the arm bent, so arms straight and going straight up there. How far back can we go? Is that as far we can go there? How are you feeling there, Ninj?
Yeah, it just feels like that's the end.
Yep. What does it feel like? What's stopping you from going further?
Feels a bit of stretch there, but there's something just here maybe.
Yep.
In the sort of anchoring on the deltoid tuberosity kind of area.
So through here, this is the closing side. So he's feeling something on the closing side there. He felt a bit of a stretch at the opening side there. So if we were to kind of rank it or trying to determine something, we could say that there's some limitation of motion there. Because if I go further back there, I can start to feel a bit of closing back here, but some stretching through the front there. Okay, so it's not to say that's right or wrong, it's just sort of where his body's starting to try to find other ways of getting more range of motion. Another reference point you can use is the ear. So let's go through that motion again. We'll look at the line of the arm and how much does it line up with the ear. So if I go next to him and you look at my range of motion, you can see mine will go past my ear, like that. So there's some differences there. A dysfunctional one will be well in front of the ear like that. Okay, and they'll do other things to cheat, like hitch the shoulder up or poke their head forward. So you can probably see Ninja do a little bit of that as he comes up. As he gets to about there, his body's going to start to try to cheat a little bit and wants to poke his head forward a little, right? And that's just the person trying to achieve that extra range there. So that's where we'd say the test would end. You know, you're not trying to see how far they can cheat. Okay, so that's shoulder flexion. Shoulder abduction, so we'll come around this way, have a look from the back. So this is what I would see. So bringing your arm out to the side, and I like to do this palm up, like that, coming all the way up, and then closing that gap there. What are we feeling there, Ninja?
Yeah, there's a bit of something like in that bicep tendon, maybe.
Yep. Yep. Okay, lowering down. Okay, come around this way, Leo. Let's have a look at from the back. Yeah. So as Ninja comes up here, you can see his upper traps already start to kick in there. It's trying to help that movement up. As he goes further, it's trying to kick in more. So it's really trying to lever up there, which means that there's already some sort of restriction or closing down here that he's trying to overcome with more muscle exertion. Coming down. A good, or like a really well-functioning one, or one that functions better, is when we don't see as much hitching through here. So the arm should be able to come all the way up there, and when we get close to the ear there, maybe it will start to hitch there. But if it starts hitching, like the upper trap starts kicking on a bit earlier on, it means that there might be some sort of stiffness or restriction through there that could be cleared out to allow that path to go further. So as that gets worse and worse, that's where things are more likely to get impingement. So that's not an impinged shoulder, but you can sort of see where there's some reduced range. So one more time so we can all see there. You'll see as well, as he tries to go further, his head starts to shift to the right there as well. So that's the muscle activation trying to close that down, trying to overcome that. And again, he was saying that he was feeling some blockage or some sort of pressure building up in through there. So that kind of gives us a hint as to where we might want to explore when we do our body work and what we want to reassess. Now, I did mention before I wanted to ask them to do the palm up there. The reason why we get the palm up when we do the abduction is to help use the biceps in that motion and also reduce the amount of pinching that could happen in his rotator cuff. So those of you who've learned some shoulder tests there, they have some names. Easy one to remember is the full can test versus the empty can test. So the empty can test is palm down, so that would be him pulling his palm down, coming up there. A bit more of an awkward one because when do you really do that in real life, right? But it can, if it's quite obstructed, like only coming to here, that can be a relevant test there. So palm up is more likely what we would do in real life. We would have our palm this way and reaching up this way rather than this way. Okay, so that's flexion, abduction. We can also do the hand behind the back test. So that's placing your hand behind the back. Okay, some people like to test how far up the back they can go there, but I'm thinking that's one way you could sort of measure things, but again, how often do you really need to do this unless you're probably scratching your back? That's something you can do. So you can look for like rotator cuff strength here as well. You can bring the palm down through here and ask the person to press your hand away. So if they're able to meet some sort of pressure there, they're already in a good shape. If they have an issue there, they can barely lift their hand off their back. Okay, some people can't even get their hand onto their back when their shoulder's really dysfunctional there.
Yeah, something in it.
Some people get stuck there as well. So if you've got someone who's stuck there and then you've done your treatment and then when you do your reassessment, they're back here and they're able to lift their hand off their back, so coming out back towards me, it's already starting to function a lot better. Yeah, so we don't have to have superhuman flexibility and motion. We just want to see that we can do a little bit more because it means that our range that we can operate in is much freer versus being boxed in. Cool. Then we got some common impingement tests as well. So my favorite one to do, it's got a name, it's called Yoakum's test, but basically it's, you ask the client, can you grab your own shoulder with that hand? So first off, can they even grab their own shoulder? Some people with shoulder problems barely reach that shoulder. And if you can comfortably grab it like that, then it's a good sign. And the next thing I ask them to do is, can you cover your face with your elbow? So yeah, so with his hand still there, if he's able to bring that up there, he's able to rotate and bring that up. Okay, so that's a useful motion to do when we're reaching across our body, taking off our shirt or reaching for the seat belt, those kind of motions there. Okay, what does a bad one look like? Like I mentioned, you can't reach, you might have to struggle to even get there, and then the elbow barely wants to come up. So they'll come up and they'll go, oh, can't move, and they'll tell you, I feel something jamming in there. What's interesting with these people is that you might check the other side and have them look at that and they'll go, oh, that's so much easier. So it's a great way to get your client to have a measure to assess against, because being able to do that shows a good degree of freedom in a part of the body that should be quite free. Okay, I think I've just got one more test. Oh no, I've got a couple more tests in supine. So on your back, please. Okay, so with shoulders, again, we might want to see the effect of our treatment, and we can see it very quickly while they're lying on their back. Sorry, stop. That was not planned. Okay, so just handle with care, especially if someone's got quite a reactive and painful shoulder. We want to see where they can freely move there. So just let it go then, Ninj. So this is passive motion, and I want to feel where the give of the shoulder is. So if I come up there and I say, like I got to here and he starts hitching his shoulder, like just go like this, Ninj, like that. That's a reaction already. And he might not say, oh, that hurts, but you can see the body start to react to that. Don't go through it. That's where the body's already saying, that's as far as I want to go. Okay, so a happy shoulder should be just sitting like that and then being able to come up like this. And just stopping when you feel some sort of resistance. If you want to be quite accurate, you can also look at the drop of the shoulder on rotation, so coming on this way. So this is watching the external rotation like this. And you can see with Ninja there, he's got a little bit of shortening there. He hasn't got full neutral, so a little bit tight this way rather than coming into that position. And then internal rotation, just letting it drop forward there. So it's got a bit more range coming this way. So a bad one will be you're here and the person gets stuck here. They can't rotate any further. And a bad one going the other way will be like stuck here, they can't go any further. So you want to see that nice free range there. And then just while you're here, one more that I really like to test when I'm treating is shoulder flexion or passive shoulder flexion. So being able to bring the arm down onto the pillow. Now when you're there, are you feeling any pressure or pinching?
Yeah, doing that bicep tendon again.
Yeah, so he's feeling it on the closing side again. Remember, this is the opening side, that's the closing side there, so I wouldn't go through that. His real range of motion will probably be about here, so that's comfortable there. Anything further and it's starting to impinge. So if I was treating him, I could like position him in a way that's short of that impingement, so I could bolster it up with that and see if he's able to place that. Is that okay there, or is there still a bit of pressure up there?
That's fine, yeah.
Okay, so that's actually where his true range is. He can let his arm sit there. I can even press into that and that should be fine. Okay, What does a good one look like is when this is all the way and this is flatter, he's able to bring his arm further back and I can actually press it into the pillow. So if I can press it into that, I'm more confident that that range is impingement free. Okay, so there's quite a few there that you could look at. You know, take your time when you're doing these sorts of assessments there. As you're bringing the arm through, or when you're watching the client move that, when you start to see any sort of cheating, when they start to like, you know, stop or tense up another body part there, just ask them to stop then and see if they can repeat it. And if they still stop at the same spot there, that might be a sign that you're reaching that first point where the free range is starting to be restricted. Okay, don't see how far they can push through and how much they can tolerate, see what's easy. So that's the basic shoulder tests.
Done.
Done.